here's the big news today. We were all waiting eagerly to hear about the potential indictments. It was presumed that Trump would be indicted on something related to January 6th, but instead, this is the most ironic and hilarious thing. The Daily Mail reports Trump accused of trying to delete the Mar-a-Lago server and wipe surveillance footage in bombshell new indictment. Ex-president hit with more charges, and head of club's maintenance is also implicated in classified documents case. The long story short of it, Trump apparently told some guy he wanted, they say the former president allegedly told aides to wipe security footage from his Florida club server as a way to foil investigators probing the removal of classified documents from the White House. See, that's an opinion statement. They're making an accusation. Just because Trump wanted a server with security footage wiped doesn't mean he intended to commit a crime by doing so. He could have just been like, oh, we're going to do a routine like wipe of the servers. But I digress. Carlos de Oliveira, Mar-a-Lago's head of maintenance, has been named as the third defendant alongside the former president and his valet, Walt Nauta. Both developments present additional legal jeopardy for the former president, who spent part of Thursday, blah, blah, blah. Just imagine this. Imagine this. It's been years since they outright said they will not indict Hillary Clinton for actually deleting public record, for having phones smashed with hammers. So you're sitting there as Trump and you're like, we're totally allowed to do this. Comey himself said it. Okay, well, wipe the server, I guess. Nope, now they got you. Now you're going to be criminally charged and arrested.
Sounds like they're having, it actually feels like they're having fun. That they are like, let's just get him. Let's get Trump on what Hillary didn't get on. It'll be just desserts for Donald Trump. I don't know if that's true.
It's hard for me not to look at it and think, now that they're arresting his head of maintenance and his valet, that they're trying to make him feel guilty for putting regular people in harm's way. Like they are trying everything to get him to take a plea deal, to sort of bow down to this. It seems kind of sick.
Man, I just was thinking of Hillary when Donald Trump was on stage with her, and he was like, if I was president, you'd be in jail. You never forget. Nothing. They never forget.
It's one of the best debate moments in modern history.
I think that's the reason why they're trying to put him in jail right now, because they're like, you do not do that to the Democratic Party in public. You do not say those things directly to Hillary Clinton in public unless you want to face the wrath, is what this feels like.
I mean, Republicans sit around doing nothing, and Democrats are lobbing Molotov cocktails figuratively and literally. In New York, they quite literally did. And now they're trying to arrest Republican electors. They're charging them with felonies. They're indicting Trump again. They're going after his maintenance guy. Mm-hmm. It just kind of feels like the Republican Party is sitting there going, oh no, or they're in on it. They're
well, what can they do?
Republicans?
Exactly.
So in, say, a Republican state like West Virginia, where you have Republican DAs, they can start criminally charging Democrats. They can say, hey, hold on there a minute.
You just fight fire. I mean,
is it fighting fire with fire? I mean, is there, when it comes to, say, like Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, do any of the crimes they've committed extend to the jurisdiction of these conservative or Republican, or even in some cases like Republican libertarian counties or districts? The answer is, of course, yes. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Joe Biden, for instance, there was already talk from Republicans about potentially bringing charges against Joe Biden, because if he's operating out of certain territories or certain areas, I mean, a lot of these people have property in Florida, right? Mm-hmm. Ron DeSantis and the Florida DAs could be going after people, but not a single DA, not a single Republican anywhere has come up with any reason or has found any crime committed. Look.
But they're like, isn't Congress about to impeach Biden?
No.
So they're kind of throwing back.
They're not.
They're not?
No.
Didn't they say that? Like
Kevin McCarthy said this may reach the level of an impeachment inquiry.
Okay. All right.
So
I just heard that like 2 days ago that there was
and they say these things so that you hear they're going to impeach Biden. When what he actually said is, we might ask the question, should Biden be impeached?
We might think about it.
We might,
okay.
like
right.
They're not even asking, should Biden be impeached? They're saying, if this keeps happening, we might have to ask each other if this reaches a level of impeachment.
I mean, I think you asked a good question. What do we do? Or what do people do in general? How do you fight back against the machine?
Well, and it's the judicial system, right?
You would think so, but then I see Sam Bankman-Fried released today from his charge, and he's walking out. He's his $10 billion scam, and he's going free. Hillary Clinton didn't get charged for emails. James Comey said she did nothing wrong. Hunter Biden had a pat on the wrist. Of course, that may be no longer the case with some of the charges maybe being put back on the table. But it feels like using the legal system to disrupt the people that are at the top of the legal system isn't the best method. So how do we? I mean, I like to make culture
building
resilient.
culture.
So yeah. Well, we went through this because we were sued by Disney, and we learned pretty quickly that fighting a lawsuit with Disney in Los Angeles is not a place you want to be. So we were handed all kinds of crazy, like our trial. For example, we had someone who was going to come testify from Google that we had gone to work with Google to try to get licensing to be able to skip stuff in TV shows and movies. And the judge said last minute, this person can't testify.
The morning of, right?
Morning of.
And those decisions are decided 30 days in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then after that, the judge lets Disney testify Google's motives with their expert. So crazy stuff. And so we just decided we've got to get out of court as fast as we possibly can and fight in the marketplace. That's one place where we feel like we still can fight. And we settled in 2020. And our company, when we were sued, we did like $8 million. And here we are. We have a formerly Disney film that is winning in the market.
So like 130 million?
People that don't know about your lawsuit, did you really quickly explain like what was the lawsuit or what's public about it?
So the way that we started Angel Studios is 10 years ago, 4 brothers and a cousin, we had young kids like 9 and under. And we wanted to watch really great, compelling stories, but have them match values. Like my 9-year-old, I didn't want him to go and speak to his sisters in certain ways when they were young. And so we created this technology that would allow you to skip certain language or skip nudity or whatever. And we thought if we launch this technology, we're going to collect a group of people who care about storytelling and care about family. And then we'll be able to distribute news stories to these people better than Hollywood can. So that was the original vision. So we built the filtering technology, the skipping technology. 2016, it started to succeed, and then we got sued. And then 2020, we settled, and then we pivoted during that lawsuit, we pivoted to creating our own stories.
You said you settled for $8 million? Is that what you said?
It was like 7.8. So it was a $62.5 million judgment. And they basically said, we'll forgive that if you'll pay for some of our legal fees. And we settled in 2020.
So our thought process was, after fighting for 4.5 years, and Disney had probably spent tens of millions of dollars trying to destroy Angel, and we had spent millions of dollars trying to fight back. It was just, we got to get out of their game. We can't fight inside of the system.
Well, and they can outspend
own.
you. That's one of the challenges in the legal system.
And the whole entire Hollywood system knows that this downtown LA court, they call it the bank. Like they call it, like it's called the bank because you can just take anybody there and get money out if you're a Hollywood studio. And so we actually got hit really hard by Disney. And so there was this moment where you're just realizing you can't fight them on their ground. We just got to opt out of this system and build an entire parallel studio system to the current Hollywood system, or else we can't rise up through their system.
And so how did you, so people don't know, you guys, the Harman Brothers, do commercial work too. You guys have done a lot of like the squatty potty stuff. You did the rainbow poop coming out of the unicorn commercial, iconic.
Yes.
And so did you take your like private money and then you were able to rebuild after the settlement, or like how did you come back from it basically? Because I think a lot of people might think you get grounded to dust. Going through that.
Well, I mean,
we almost did.
Yeah, and we don't know of a company who's a startup that has survived from a Disney lawsuit, so we feel very grateful. But one thing that happened is we had 2 major successes while we were in bankruptcy going through the lawsuit. Dry Bar Comedy, which gets over 1 billion views a year. It's stand-up comedy that's funny for everyone. And then The Chosen, which is like a top 5 TV series. And we just started growing like crazy during this lawsuit, and then Disney, and then we had a trustee during the bankruptcy who was in charge of our company.
We had to file bankruptcy. So,
yes.
But to protect us from Disney, there's Chapter 11 bankruptcy has this format where you can actually use it as a shield against a predator. So we used bankruptcy to protect us from Disney.
Yes, and then as soon as the trustees saw how fast we were growing, with this parallel system that we were building, he said to the judge, these guys are going to be able to pay off the entire $62 million. And Disney said, wait a second. We actually don't want to be paid back. We just,
put them into Chapter 7.
Yeah, just put them into Chapter 7. And the judge is like, oh, you guys aren't acting in your own financial interest. I can't trust you anymore.
Why didn't they want to be paid back?
Because they wanted us dead. They wanted us. Chapter 7 is liquidation. Right. They wanted all our assets sold off. Wow. They wanted the judge to say, you don't have $62 million today, so sell everything off, and then we get what's left. But the trustee said, no, these guys are growing so fast, they're going to be able to pay off this whole $62 million. I just need a plan, plus interest.
Wow.
And Disney's like, no, that's not what we want. And
wow.
Disney's like, no, thank you. please no.
They're like, no, we don't want to be paid off. And the judge is like, why? The whole point of Chapter 11 bankruptcy or Chapter 7 is you're supposed to want to get paid back, not just destroy a company.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, I'm not going to let you do that.
And then he threw it out, or what?
No. Then Disney said, no, okay, we'll settle. If you guys won't ever use your technology to filter our stuff again, we'll forgive the $62 million. You guys pay,
part of our legal fees.
Part of the legal fees, and we'll call it good. We just went. Like I said, like Jeffrey said, we have 100,000 people who have invested, who help make the content decisions. We went to our investors and we said, guys, we told you we'd fight this all the way. We have this chance that we can just go after original storytelling. Instead of skipping over Hollywood stuff, we make our own stuff. We tell our own stories, and we control those stories. What do you guys want to do? Do you want to fight this all the way, or do you want to tell our own stories? And 84% of our people said, let's just go tell the stories. And then we offered to buy out the rest of them.
Did you get inspired during the court process to start your own storytelling?
So actually, we thought about doing our own storytelling at the beginning. That's the only reason Jeffrey's involved.
Yeah, I told Neil when he came to me, Neil and Jordan came to me, and they were like, let's build this system that skips and mutes content in movies. And I was like, that happened a while back, and there's like 14 companies that did this, and every single one got sued out of existence.
But what's the grounds for suing?
It's copyright. There's copyright arguments.
But it seems weird because if I had a movie on at home and I skipped it, that's not copyright. But if you have a technology that does
it's because the technology using there's a law called the Family Movie Act of 2005 that allows you to skip and mute content that's transmitted over the internet. We read that and said that means as long as the customers bought the content,
and as long as they make the choices,
then as long as they're making the choices, then we can provide technology to skip and mute content. Disney came in and said, no, the DMCA, you're decrypting. Oh, what I don't, Neil. Well, Neil can explain it better.
I think the best way to explain it was this: the Ninth Circuit basically said, we see VidAngel's argument.
That was your company.
Yeah, our company at the time was called VidAngel.
That sounds like a good thing.
We see it. This is a novel interpretation of the law. We also see Disney's argument, and it just so happens if we go with VidAngel's, there's a big hole in copyright law.
Yeah.
So we can't do that. We're going to go with Disney. And we're like, well, wait a second. The Family Movie Act was like an exemption under the copyright law. Why, that's
Why
what
is that
they
a hole? It is a hole. It's designed
to be an exemption, but we weren't going to win in that court. We weren't going to win in that system. So.
What if you open source technology and just release it to the wind?
We actually did set up a foundation in the middle of the lawsuit and announced that, and Disney came screaming to the courts and saying that they needed to seize the company from us before we let any assets out of the company. So
because that was ultimately.
What's that?
They stop you from doing it?
Well, we were just asking the court if they would let us do it, and Disney stopped it.
Wait. So you're saying the technology, which seems completely honest in today's day and age, not
pretty simple.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is not available. I mean, there's got to be open source versions of this.
So we settled and we sold VidAngel
Yeah.
off, and it still works. You can.
It just doesn't work for Disney stuff.
It just does not work for Disney or Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
So like two of the biggest producers of children's content that you would maybe want to use this for.
Yeah.
Weird.
So hold on. This is.
But it's doing well.
You can't run a plugin on your own browser watching movies. Is that what it is?
Yeah, so you can,
but
you can't do it with a modern streaming device. So you can't do it through your iPad. You can't do it through your Roku, iPhone, all those things. That's what
VHS tape.
You can do it on a browser.
You could do it through a Chrome browser with an extension.
But you can't get it on an iPhone or something?
Yeah.
Because it would
Yeah.
have to...
Any
unless you,
modern device you wouldn't be able to do it with. And
I guess
that's-
technically if you used Chrome on your phone to watch, which would not be as good as this is the streaming app. But
Chrome on your phone doesn't support extensions.
right.
So
So what you're saying is the thing that you made actually would go between an app. And
yeah,
it's-
it would basically go like if you have your Netflix account, you'd tie your Netflix account to VidAngel, and it would go and it would be you. You'd make your choices. You'd say, "Oh, I want to skip nudity," and then it would go up and it would in the cloud. It would contact your Netflix account. Get your
I see.
get your Netflix stream, skip it, and send it down to your iPhone or to your Roku or whatever. And that that's the only way it could be done on a modern streaming device. And it was like 14% of the market is on a desktop, and 86% of the market at the time was all on streaming devices. So that's how we delivered the technology.
Right. Well, I get it.
Yeah.
When you guys settled and then you bounced, did you bounce out of California after that? Are you still sticking around Cali?
We're in Utah.
Okay, so you were never based in California? That's just where the
Mm-hmm.
lawsuit happened?
Yeah.
So what happened? After you settled, like, what was the impetus for the next generation of Harman?
Of Angel Studios?
Yeah.
Yeah. So after we settled, we bought Angel.com, and then we rebranded as Angel Studios. Angel being investor. And
We had Dry Bar, we had The Chosen,
Yep.
and then we just started expanding.
Yep.
Tuttle Twins, which you can see I'm sporting right here. The Wing Feather Saga, which is fantasy. Tuttle Twins is like a freedom education thing for kids.
From Ron Paul, right?
yeah.
It fit in that world.
Yep.
And then you've got Sound of Freedom now.
Which is fun because we went through all this battle, and Fox was acquired by Disney during our lawsuit, and this parallel story was happening, and then we ended up with the rights to Sound of Freedom here in 2023.
Yeah, Fox paid for Sound of Freedom to get made. Is that how it worked? And then Disney bought them, so Disney owned it.
Yep.
And they were suing you when you bought it from them? Or did you wait till after the lawsuit?
No, it was after the lawsuit.
And then you purchased it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.